Welcome to the weekend must watch here on the Intercut podcast channel, where we wade our way through the latest in theaters, streaming, and on demand. I am your co-host Zach Shevich, and joining me, what's a bad miracle? It's Arturo Zurita.
I'm still sticking with it's a curse, or it's you going into this movie for 2 hours and not liking it. But some of us have loved it so much. We have come back from a whole journey. Some of us just had to go a couple a couple of blocks out the other way because they have a really good theater next to them. But we had one of what I consider the most beautiful movies come out this week. It's Divisive, which I love, but it's one of the very few shot in IMAX. And Zach was over in Chicago last week. Some of you may
Yeah.
have seen the review that we did, so you know that we're going to keep it pretty short. But Nope is the biggest release of the week, and I'd say out of everything that's come out this past year, probably second to the Batman. I love the fact that we have another IMAX movie, a true cinema movie, to go back into theaters for. And dude, I've caught it 4 times. I don't. I think you've caught it twice.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a true spectacle, and even so, it's about spectacle itself. So definitely a great reason to go back to the movie theater again and again. Yeah, and as you mentioned, we've both been on journeys. You to your closest IMAX screen, which is unfortunately a road trip away,
Too far.
and me, I back from Chicago, where you so gracefully hosted me over the past week. And we got to do some fun stuff, including see Nope together, and we recorded our in-person review, which, as you mentioned, you can check out on our channel, where we get into our full non-spoilery thoughts. We will get into some full spoilery thoughts in our live stream following weekend must watch. But yeah, we want to touch on it a little bit, but just going to like the swag we picked up in Chicago, I was able to get that like cool kind of Nope smiley face, and we picked up posters, and you took me to the Brood, the David Cronenberg and horror themed coffee shop out there next to what I forget the name of the record store that had all that awesome stuff. Picked up
Brood record
this
store.
like this Iron Giant figure,
baby,
which is real
let's
cool.
Go.
Yeah.
Hold on,
So we got matching giants.
Let me get you on the full screen right there. Show the people on the full screen.
Uh.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's beautiful. It was a cool record store. Yeah, no, I'm glad you were able to make it out here. I mean, I live here, and for the most part, I've never been to Pitchfork. So this man took me to Pitchfork. We got to see the Roots out there. You keep it movie based. Oscar winner. Questlove was there.
Questlove on the drums.
It was fantastic. Keeping it movies related. They were playing Running Up That Hill. We cannot escape that, no matter where we go. But no, it was an awesome weekend. So now we're back to the being separated, but nonetheless, at least we have good movies to talk about, dude.
Yeah, plenty of interesting stuff to talk about. Let's kick it off with the weekend must watch and get a little bit briefly into the big theatrical release of the weekend. As you mentioned, the latest from Jordan Peele, Nope. It is the third Jordan Peele movie and the third one to finish number one at the box office. The highest grossing movie from an original script since Us.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't give you that impromptu quiz, but yeah, it's Jordan Peele competing against Jordan Peele at this point. Wow. He's a genre all to himself. So I want to ask, what is your reaction to the reaction to Nope thus far?
I was thinking about my reaction to the reaction and how I would react, and
exactly
what better position to be in. There's a line in the movie, keeping it very cryptic, where the father figure says, "We've already made it, just execute." And I feel like it's Jordan talking to himself. He's in this very interesting point where after 3 movies, after the first one gets you an Oscar, where do you go from there? And I know he's talked a lot about Nope being the movie that he couldn't have filmed 5 years ago. And I think he means that in like a dozen different ways. If he hadn't gone through the success of Get Out and Us, I don't think he puts a lot of the themes that he does in Nope, especially when it comes to the idea of it being a movie about movies. I wouldn't have it any other way. We always talk about that box set, at the end of his career. What looks better than seeing a Get Out, Us, Nope, all original projects. I've been telling Zach it's going to be a Nope 2. One of them is going to get a sequel.
I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't mind it as long as it's his own sequel, but I love that he's invested in himself. I don't think there's any better way to go. There's a lot of homages in this movie that were actually pitched to him. Obviously, every director that's on the rise gets pitched a Marvel movie, some IP, and he has practically said, as much as I love anime and all that stuff, will never take an IP because I will not be able to make it what I want to make it. And I can at least say, with all three of these, they're Jordan Peele films. Even with what he homages, it's not going to be like Stranger Things where 10 years down the line, they just go back to Spielberg. They will go back to Nope, to Get Out, to Us. And regardless of what it homaged, he interpolates it in a way where he makes it something very unique. And I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big differences between Get Out and Nope is that Get Out is a movie that is very kind of like clean in terms of the message that it's giving you, right? Like it's not there. While there is room to interpolate aspects of the plot, the overarching idea of Get Out is one that is a little bit hard to deny, right? Like you get the themes of racism and of exploitation and of appropriation, and it's almost like hard to watch the movie and not see all that. With Nope, he's become a little bit more obfuscated in his approach. He's a little bit less didactic about what he's trying to tell you. And he's become a really, really interesting filmmaker in terms of the way that he puts together a set piece, the spectacle he's able to put on the big screen. While I don't think that I like Nope as much as I like Get Out, I think that it's also a movie that like really, really rewards pulling it apart, talking about it, thinking about it. And like, it's almost, I don't know. I see why some people are bumping up against some of the things in Nope. But I also think that if your reaction to the movie is like, why was that part with the animal in it? Then like you're not watching the movie really. You're not like reading the text that's on the screen.
I'd say give it another chance for that because I agree with you, dude. And I know we said that Get Out is number one, and I do still think it's number one. But damn, Nope is way closer than I thought it was after my repeated viewings. There are things just right off the bat that you are catching on a rewatch, and you only get it on a rewatch. That's what makes Get Out so good. You're rewatching that movie and noticing things when they get pulled over that you're like, oh, completely different context. Right. There are just shots, no dialogue in this movie that makes you go, that's what that means. Then you're hearing someone say something now that you know their ending motivations or what they were going for. Different things just you know, depending on what perspective you may have in the film industry, depending if you have siblings, because I would say that's a big part of this movie that a lot of people aren't expecting. Depending on how many sci-fis you've watched in your life, the way that he's able to flip on them, I think is done really well. But I've seen a lot of people go into this very disappointed it's a horror movie, dude. So I think for a lot of people who may know his stuff from Get Out or Us, where it is really creepy, this is more of an epic sci-fi movie. Like it is 100% an alien adventure type film that then becomes like this family drama with siblings about like the film industry. And then it's sprinkled with horror. So I will say that if you're going into this thinking that it's like a horror film, I can see you being disappointed, but I don't think that should be the approach that you take. Because it's 100% an alien movie. I think that's what he's serving up for you. And I like to see that. I like to see the way that he's been blending genres because a big part of it is to not being a checkbox. And that's one thing that he's been trying to dismantle with it. But go into it knowing that it's a lot like Close Encounters. I rewatched Close Encounters recently because I know he said that was the biggest inspiration for him. And seeing that movie isn't just like aliens, but oh my gosh, this dramatic life that I have at home with my children and my children don't see me as a man. We were okay with that back in the 70s. I'm loving it right now in the 2020s because what he's able to include into this movie, I think in like a decade from now, we'll be able to rewatch it, distance from it, and I think pick up a lot more things. And I just want to talk spoilers with you, man. I'm trying to like bounce around without getting too much into it. But I definitely give this movie a chance, and if you can, give it multiple watches because it's one that rewards you every single time, just like his previous movies.
All right, so we will get into spoilers on the next live stream following this one, but let's keep it with what's playing in theaters with My Old School, which got a limited release over the weekend. This is a movie that we actually missed, one of the very few movies that we missed when it played at Sundance earlier this year, Sundance 2020. But it's a pretty peculiar blend of documentary and recreations that also features the actor Alan Cumming. Art, I know that you got to watch this one. Tell me a little bit more about My Old School.
It's really just talking head type of documentary that's able to mix in some animation about this guy who entered these people's school years ago and I guess was so peculiar looking that it almost became a movie. The reason Alan Cummings is in this, and we didn't know this going into it, was that Alan Cumming was supposed to play this guy decades ago. That fell through, and now that they made a documentary version of it, he's like, I want Alan Cummings to voice me because I will only record audio. I will not appear in this movie at all. So he lip syncs the entire thing. I think he does it flawlessly. I think it's a very interesting documentary, and where you're seeing how these people approach this one kid in school, all the different dynamics that can happen when you kind of feel like an outsider, or rumors that start, but then also what happens if said rumors may have some validity to them. I think it's a very interesting documentary that when you rewatch it, you end up noting a lot of different things and interactions that play completely differently once you hear some of these people's anecdotes and how they were hanging out with this guy. But I thought it was a very interesting doc. Wouldn't enter probably my top ones out of Sundance, but I did wish we would have caught it back then because just the way that it plays out would have been very interesting to see all of our reactions to it, because there were similar movies that played at the fest that had scenarios that were kind of similar that had us all in disgust. But I will say that out of a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd, be careful. A lot of people saw this movie at Sundance, did not finish it. And y'all are telling on yourself with some of these reviews, claiming that some stuff doesn't happen in this movie when it does. Stick through the whole thing. You will be, I don't want to say rewarded, you will be creeped out with some of the stuff that they keep hinting at you, that they do deliver it at by the end of it. But My Old School, a really interesting story of a 16-year-old named Brandon Lee.
Yeah, you were telling me that it's one of those films that once you get to the end, you kind of look at a lot of things in a different light. So that definitely made me curious about it. So My Old School, definitely want to keep that one on my radar. Let's move on to streaming, where I think the biggest competition that Nope had came in the form of a $200 million Netflix movie, and one that also saw one of the biggest stars in Hollywood return to the screen for the first time in, like, what was it? Has it been 5 years since we got our last Ryan Gosling movie?
Did we get one recently?
I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of it.
I heard he made a Skittles commercial this past weekend and attached it to a very long movie. But in terms of a movie star, Ryan Gosling, I'm waiting on Barbie for that one. This was a joke. I did not think you could get worse than Red Notice.
Yeah, I mean, my sort of feeling, at least given the comparison of Red Notice, which feels like the right comparison, right? These are these hugely expensive movie star action vehicles and attempts by Netflix to start their own version of like a blockbuster franchise, but both of them just end up feeling a bit soulless. It is, I think, the easiest way to describe it. Like, I'm not sure that there is any passion at any point beyond this project, beyond just like trying to get a paycheck. And at least Red Notice has the courtesy of being like attempting to be entertaining in the form of quips and silly things happening. This I just found to be really like one note and personalityless, and I don't know if I feel completely entitled to my review because I fell asleep during it, but I think that also speaks to the lack of quality, that something that cost this much money is not able to hold my attention.
Yeah, I don't like, it's such a boring movie. There's nothing to add to it, dude. In Red Notice, at least it's Ryan Gosling doing that Ryan Gosling thing again. Oh, I'd rather be annoyed of an actor doing his acting bit than to see Ryan Gosling say lines it sounds like he doesn't even want to say. We've seen Chris Evans play a bad guy in Knives Out. What's he doing here? It was like every single piece of his dialogue is, I am bad guy. Do you have mustache to twirl? Just say it with some more pizzazz. You know that I'm a sucker for Ana de Armas because I had nothing bad to say about her, but it's not like she's given anything good. There's nothing redeemable in this movie that makes it worth that price tag because that's really all that they're flaunting. And it sucks because how do you go from the Russo brothers directing what is the biggest movie of all time with Endgame and then coming in here and not being able to create something from... Is this a... Oh, that's right. This is an adaptation. This is a novel that originally Chris McQuarrie wanted to adapt, and it fell through. So he's like, fine, I'm just going to take my favorite moments from this book and adapt it to a little movie called Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah.
When you compare the Fallout Halo sequence where they actually jump out of the sky and you realize, oh, he was inspired by this book. Well, let me see what the Russo brothers do for their adaptation. It has to be the worst action editing I have seen in a minute. None of it feels real. It all feels fake as can be. None of these actors were there with the second unit. Where did the money go? What was the point of it?
Yeah, I'm really questioning that.
How'd you fall asleep and not miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a movie that looks particularly good. It's not a movie that was particularly impressive with its visuals. It tries to do some of that weird drone cinematography completely worse than Ambulance did earlier this year. Just pales in comparison. I don't know, man. Do we have to have a serious talk about the Russo brothers? They are legends in TV, directing the pilot for Arrested Development, one of the great comedy pilots of all time. Directing the pilot for Community and putting Community on the path of being one of the most visually compelling comedy shows of all time on TV. These guys are legitimately amazing when it comes to half-hour comedies and baffling when it comes to their feature film work, especially outside of the MCU where they don't have iconic characters to hold them up. I mean, you said they went from Endgame to this. They didn't go straight. There was a little stop at Chirk along the way.
That is true. What is it with them taking the superheroes that brought them their biggest movie and then going what if Spider-Man was a drug addict? What if Captain America was the complete opposite?
Had a mustache.
Yeah. What if it wasn't America's ass, but America's asshole? It makes no sense whatsoever. I feel bad because if you were actually a fan of the Gray Man, you could have gotten a better adaptation. But then at that point, just go see those sequences in Mission Impossible. I'm glad I didn't have to see this in theaters, but holy moly, does it look terrible on your screens. Netflix, y'all said you weren't going to do 200 mil projects no more. Should have capped it with this one. The Gray Man
right.
on Netflix. And we were just having this discussion.
Late.
Zach, what do you give this movie? What would you give it from what you saw? Say you're rating it.
I mean, I was probably going to go 2 or 1.5, but I don't know if I want to say that without actually watching it.
But how many more 2 stars can I add to my letterbox? I was trying to tell you this. These 2-star movies, they pop out everywhere. I'm going to have to plug it in later. But The Gray Man, streaming on Netflix. Leave it there.
Yeah. All right. Also streaming this weekend is Anything is Possible. This is a new film on Amazon Prime. Interestingly, this one's directed by Billy Porter, of course, famous for his roles in Pose, as well as the recent Cinderella film that starred Camila Cabello. I believe this is his feature directorial debut. I don't know if you have anything.
I think the other one was supposed to be
any information contrary to that.
No, this is supposed to be his main one.
So, what did you think about Anything's Possible?
It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I don't think Amazon. I don't trust Amazon with these rollouts. I remember they had that other one about the dude who could dance, and he was supposed to be I don't know, making it really big. There was another Prime one from last year that had a big push, but not really. They fumbled the bag there. I think they're gonna fumble the bag with this one as well. But he makes a cute. I want to say they're in high school movie where you have 2 high schoolers who. They're dealing with all the stuff that they have to go through, but specifically you have our main actress is trans. So because of that, she's surrounded by a bunch of friends who want to fight for her. And she's like, I never asked you to fight for me. I'm trying to normalize me just being me. So not everything needs to be a cause. So it's a lot of interesting perspectives that you actually get to see from a character expressing herself and not necessarily trying to be the checkbox or whatnot. It's still your average little high school movie. It's cute. It has, the love thing going back and forth, but it has a pretty decent soundtrack. I didn't know Billy Porter could sing like that. I guess I should know. He's got like 4 tracks on this, including the main credit song that he has towards the end. So
wow.
I would say for those of you who love those streaming movies like Crush and I'm trying to think what Netflix had recently that was kind of similar. Put this one up your alley. I'd give it a pretty low but decent enough rent to it, where if this was out in theaters, I'd say definitely go catch it.
Awesome. All right, cool. Anything's possible over on Prime. Let's talk about some of the TV that debuted over the past week, starting with the Ethan Hawke show, The Last Movie Stars, his documentary. I haven't had the chance to catch it, but you said you caught the first one too?
Mm-hmm. Who would have thought? They came up to Ethan Hawke, I think it was the kids, came up to him and said, "Hey, Ethan, can you direct a documentary about her parents?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" He ends up gathering a bunch of celebrities to come in and do the voices. So like George Clooney will do the voice for Paul Newman whenever they need anything like that. And it's a stacked cast. A lot of it is done in like Zoom calls. So the whole premise is that you're looking back at these 2 stars who weren't just these big icons, but they were married together. I think they said they worked together on over 50 productions. And it's just having this legacy in cinema of not just working together, but being like that powerhouse couple that everyone was looking towards. And he does a lot of comparisons, not only to Hollywood of that time and Hollywood of now, but like I said, because he's filming this during the pandemic, he took it because he was going to have all this free time to like kind of cut something up. There's a lot of Skype calls that are happening. So he's like talking about the project while pitching the project almost to a degree. Like he's having discussions with people about them. And that's the only part of it that where you have this like The Last Movie Stars and there's no set when talking to the talking heads. It's literally done over a Zoom call. I wish that was done a little bit better, but the archives that he's able to dig through and the way that he's able to actually get a lot of the actors to come in and do the voiceovers, I thought was pretty cool. And they have a lot of intimate moments between them already in the first 2 episodes, but I'm very curious to see how deep they get into their careers and especially a lot of the behind the scenes and how they approach a lot of their projects. But I would highly recommend it. I would say that between him and even Alex Winters, who I want to take this one back, so I'm saying this one cautiously, who really surprised me with a lot of the directing he was doing on docs, until he did the YouTube effect one. So that's why I don't want to put that out there. But I thought he did some pretty good docs over there, and it seems like he's got a career, Ethan Hawke, with doing some documentaries or at least full on directing that I know he wants to have in his future. But as of right now, good thing to catch up over on HBO Max, and I think all 6 episodes are already up, so I just need to wrap it up. But it's a very stacked cast,
very cool.
voicing a lot of these people here. So
I didn't realize it was quite so I guess experimental in its structure, but that sounds very intriguing. I mean, just the idea of Ethan Hawke lending his perspective to the story sounds intriguing enough that I'll have to catch up with you, and when we finish we'll maybe circle. Oh, he actually got to meet Newman.
Mm-hmm. That's a little bit that he talks about there, and he feels that that's why the kids wanted him. So, it's sealed there. So,
yeah.
Last Movie
All right,
Stars.
cool. Yeah, maybe we'll circle back to that show when we both have a chance to finish it. Let's talk a little bit about Mind Over Murder, because the finale is actually, it might be airing right now or in half an hour over on HBO. It's going to wrap up its 6-episode run. This is a really fascinating true crime documentary series directed by Nanfu Wang, one of our favorite documentarians, that takes a look at a pretty intriguing murder case, the bizarre story of Helen Wilson's killing in Beatrice, Nebraska, and the Beatrice Six, who some of whom confessed to her murder, and the effect that this whole incident had not just on the people involved, but on the town at large. Simultaneously, the town is mounting a theatrical production of retellings of police interviews and different trial excerpts, sort of recreating the story of around these killings. So I think where we've gotten to at this point is right before the actual performance of all of these recreations. So it's really gotten it's really been focused particularly, or I guess more heavily, I would say, on the true crime aspect of it. And it is a very compelling, twisty, turny true crime story that serves as like a fascinating sociological document at the ways in which people can be manipulated, particularly by shoddy police work. So that whole aspect is really fascinating, but I haven't been able to catch the finale yet. I'm excited for it tonight because it feels like it's all culminating in a big way. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be something really exciting with that. So I don't know how far you've gotten into the series, but how are you enjoying Mind Over Murder so far?
I'm still in the early episodes when the pilot came out. I didn't have access to all of it until recently. So now that I have access to all of it, yeah, I definitely wanted to catch up on it. But, I mean, it's Nan-Fu Wong. We have recommended her stuff in the past. So if you haven't seen any of her previous documentaries, go check them out and catch this one because from what I got, even the townspeople are like, are we really going to do this? And I leave it to her to make it the most effective. But Mind Over Murder, I love the pilot. Can't wait to wrap up the 5 hours of this because this is actually a docuseries that uses the docuseries element to its advantage. It's not just an overlong doc. It's actually leading up to something. So Mind Over Murder on HBO.
All right. So maybe we will wrap that up next week or the week after if you get a chance to catch up. Let's also talk about American Horror Stories, which just debuted a couple new episodes over on Hulu. I thought it just debuted in general, and Art let me know it's actually season 2. They did a whole season 1.
There's a whole season 1 there.
This is not the anthology show created by Ryan Murphy in which each season would tell a different story of a different story of different themes. This is the anthology episode to episode show in which each episode tells its own horrific story. So Art, I don't know, first of all, were you an American Horror Story watcher? And second of all, how is American Horror Stories by comparison?
I've never watched. It's recommended to me all the time. I know there's a bunch of seasons. I heard you pitched it to me that it was, anthologies within anthologies, and I was like, oh, that's even easier to consume. I don't have to finish I literally just have to finish the episode, not episodes. This would have been the first thing I've ever watched. Season 2 has 1 episode out so far, and I think they're going weekly. It's called Dollhouse. I have heard that this show gets really crazy and gruesome and whatnot. I won't say it's lived up to the expectations that a lot of people have thrown at me, but, the season 2 intro was pretty interesting. You have, and I want to make sure I get the actress right here, Christine Froseth. Some of you may know her from, I feel really bad that the first thing I know her from is Sierra Burgess. But she's in several other shows. She comes in and she's trying to do like this job interview, and then she ends up like in a dollhouse. That's the premise of it. And I like that they're able to make something like that because I don't see a premise for 1 episode being stretched out into a season. So to be able to have a lot of these creepy stories that they're able to just one and done in under an hour, I think suits a lot of these stories very well. And I thought this one did a decent enough job in the way that it's shot. Mind you, it is the pilot for season 2. But the way that they're able to build up the tension leading up to it, that I'm curious to see if they're able to hold that for all the other ones. Again, it's an anthology, so that allows you to have like the middle episode just be filler. So at that point, you're not really changing anything from making it an anthology series where you didn't have enough to wrap it up. But from what I was able to see from this one, I'm kind of curious to go back on it. I'm hoping to finish season 2 so that I can wrap them all up leading up to October, because I believe this anthology series is going to end a couple of weeks right before October.
Cool. So right in time for Halloween to have a bunch of scary stories to binge. Yeah. I think I like the idea of these anthology shows, although I feel like there's yet to be one that I found really gripping. Like, I don't include High Maintenance, which is obviously one of my favorite shows, because that at least there's kind of like a through line or a consistency in terms of the types of stories it's telling. But like Room 104 and this, like, they sound really cool, but I don't know, I've never like been drawn back in.
Interesting. Probably like Love, Death, Robots, I think would be Netflix's biggest one right
Right.
now.
That's a good call. That's the one a lot of people enjoy now.
Yeah, and I know Blumhouse tried doing a bunch of theirs over on Prime. It could have been Hulu. They had like Piku and a bunch of like different horror stories that they tried to make. But what's funny about those is those felt like feature ideas that never made it, and then they just called them episodes. Here, it kind of sounds like pitches that they're finally able to create into something. So we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. All right, so that's American Horror Story. It's just going to wrap up the weekend must watch by mentioning a couple TV shows we have our eyes on right now. Primal started back up over on Adult Swim, and they got their episodes on HBO Max. There's also the Issa Rae show, Rap Shit, that I believe just started its run this week.
It had 2 episodes. I got to catch one. Interesting. We'll see how it goes. It's very much, when Issa stares at the mirror?
Right.
It's that.
It kind of feels like it would be in that spirit. The Anarchists, which we mentioned after the first episode, is continuing its run. I think that one you wrote that the finale is coming August 14th, so still a couple more weeks of that. Trying season 3 over on Apple TV Plus, I believe, is back. And I think the one that most of us are paying attention to would be The Rehearsal over on HBO, the new Nathan Fielder show that just aired. I want to say its second episode on Friday, which is when we start to get into the world of this like family and house in Oregon, which not to detail too much, but becomes like a running thing throughout the rest of the show. I mean, man, the world he's building is so fascinating. He takes it to new levels each week. I'm really loving The Rehearsal. We've both caught all 5 of our screeners now. So,
but you said that
I don't know. I'm on edge for that 6th episode.
You said there's a 6th episode, so I'm looking forward to it. But catch this one as fast as you can, easily. Can't even spoil this one, really. It's about the reactions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so excited to be able to discuss this with people without hiding things too. But other than Rehearsal, any of these shows stood out to you? That's the ones that you're paying the most attention to right now?
Primal, because I really liked the first season/feature that they had. What I was trying to tell you was that the season 1 was technically a movie because they submitted it for the Oscars and then kind of chopped it up and released it. And they're continuing that for season 2. So it's the man who made. Let me pull it back up. It's the man who made Dexter's Lab, my G. A bunch of the classics growing up, so I really love his animation style. And then I want to get into Trying. I started catching the season 1 because I've never caught any of the show, but my brother loves. He claims this is the best show on Apple TV. And you a big Apple TV fan. He's a big Apple TV fan too. I need to get him like a sweater.
Tim
or something.
Cook fanboy.
Yeah. I said I'd get him the Tim Cook AirPods, but he don't wear AirPods.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, he loves this show. But it's about them having kids, and I don't know if I've been like watching a show about a young couple ready to have some kids right now. I'm not trying to catch a baby fever, but I've heard some good things about it, and it's got pretty good ratings, so those would be the 2 on mine.
Dope. I've been catching some more episodes of The Bear because I'm still behind on that, and I've been hearing nothing but great things.
After
and also another thing that you took me to Mr. Beef, so of course I have to get into the show now. And I gotta say, I have an additional appreciation for all the beautiful shots of Chicago and the
there you go,
the design of the kitchen that they've recreated. It's dope.
Watch The Bear. It's on Hulu.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying The Bear so far. Maybe we'll circle back to that in more detail when I actually finish that season. But let's move on from what we're watching and get into the yay or nay, where we break down the latest happenings in the film industry, starting with Long TV is back. Abbott Elementary was renewed for its 2nd season to a full order of 22 episodes, and we've also found out that the upcoming Daredevil Born Again series, which is bringing back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio,
18
got an 18 episode
I heard this was
order.
8.
Nah, there's a 1 in front of that 8. Art, yay or nay, you are excited for the return of long TV seasons?
You know my answer. For Abbott Elementary, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If it's a
Yeah.
sitcom, I don't have a problem with that. That's like the show that you want to spend literal filler time with people. Because what makes those shows, yes, it's the writing, but it's the characters. Man, when I heard it was 8, I was excited because the one thing Daredevil's really known for is the graphic novels. You know, it's not this ongoing crazy run, which yes, he does have, but it's like the way Frank Miller is able to encompass one story. And I'm like, damn, what better version than like a miniseries? I had seen the Born Again title added to it as well, and I was like, oh, 18.
It's a lot.
18, Zach.
Look,
how am I supposed to catch all my other MCU episodes while I have 18 to catch here?
Well, that's the thing. I'm going yay because, as you said, I'm totally here for it for a sitcom. Like, yes, let me hang out with your fun characters as long as possible. But I'm also for it for Marvel shows because 18 episodes, I'm not going to bother.
That's
so
more
it's
than a
one less
trimester.
thing for me to watch.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
It's kind of a while.
And you already know,
I mean,
I don't even trust them with these characters. I've explained to you that it kind of felt the way that they did. I mean, we kind of talking spoilers here. What they did in Doctor Strange with a certain character, they're like, that guy's from a show? Well, we're about to tell you that show was in another dimension. It kind of feels like they're going to make the Netflix shows be in another multiverse, and now here's these cute ones that don't swear. But Disney Plus this past week, I don't know if you saw, they got Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, Logan. They're going to add porn next week. It's really crazy just how they've switched their entire model. So maybe I'm just being very extra skeptical, and they are going to be able to do everything even though they don't have the same team that they fired from Netflix. But who knows? Who knows, right? The multiverse is full of possibilities.
Well, we will see. Let's move on to some announcements from San Diego Comic-Con, which we should just redub as FeigeCon because Marvel absolutely dominated the weekend with a bunch of announcements. None bigger, though, than the reveal of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. Art, you said you caught this one. I know you're not usually a guy who jumps on trailers, but I think this one was hard to avoid. So what was your reaction to seeing the glimpses of the upcoming Ryan Coogler movie?
You know that some of them
yay or nay?
It's a yay, bro. I really like that. I love the mashup. You know it's important when you stop what you're doing to watch it, and I still need more. But there's some heft to that trailer. Just the announcement, the drop of it, and the look of it. I think there's a lot riding on this. We've been saying that there is a lot riding on Black Panther 2. Or Wakanda Forever. So we'll see, dude. This can't be another Thor 4.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not the property y'all created here.
The thing is, it doesn't really look like it from that trailer. The trailer is pretty visually stunning for one of these types of movies. There's some shots. There's some cinematography. There's a sunset. Chloe Zhao opening the door to some sunsets. My hope is here that like Coogler has the sway, and he leaned on Disney and showed and like convinced them how important it was to go all out. And like maybe they're gonna improve on some of the things that weren't as good about the last one, because I think, you know, while people really love the story and the themes and a lot of the performances, there's some aspects of the visuals of the first one that ultimately lessen the impact of that film. And so far this one looks pretty good. It does look a little bit weirdly like Avatar. Like, why are there lanky blue people in this world too? But I don't know, man. I think there's just something about the tone of the trailer that is really enrapturing. It's really captivating. Makes me very hopeful that this is going to be a movie that can kind of walk that tightrope of doing a sequel to a film in which the centerpiece is no longer with us. And I don't know. It's also been fascinating to see the different reactions to the trailer. I know our buddy E-Man, who's been big on the hashtag recast T'Challa bandwagon, had some thoughts about the use of Chadwick Boseman as part of the spectacle, particularly on the week where we got Nope in theaters, is pretty interesting, an interesting contrast. But that doesn't make me not very excited, because at this point, I don't think Coogler's made a bad film. So hopefully he continues that streak.
My boy Tenoch in this movie, bro. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about the character he's playing, Namor or whatever?
If I did, does it matter after Feige touches
No.
it? So no. Yeah, he already changed some stuff there, but we'll see, dude. I'm excited.
All right. So aside from the reveal of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, which also had Michaela Cole, I was excited about that, even if it was just in a flash.
What are you talking about? What you mean?
We got
what has Michaela Cole?
Michaela Cole's in Black Panther, bro.
They sacrificed Kaluuya for Michaela Cole?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's a pretty decent trade, but it'd be nice if they had both, I guess.
Okay. Next one.
All right, so beyond Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Kevin Feige emptied the bag and revealed every single Phase 5 release.
Your
they
birthday plans for
listed them
2025.
all out.
Baptism for your children. Everything has been scheduled.
It's scheduled down to the month. We get Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, Secret Invasion, Guardians 3, Echo, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, Daredevil, Born Again, Captain America 4, New World Order, and Thunderbolts, which will be running from February 2023 through July 2024. Art, yay or nay, does the reveal of the broader Phase 5 plan make you a bit more excited for the future of the MCU?
No, only good movies do. This kind of feels like 5 is where they begin things. Or I guess the end of Black Panther. Maybe. Because so far every movie's been
because that's supposed to be the final Phase 4 movie.
Right, but is it even? Like, is that just going to be a movie that's kind of trying to resolve the passing of their actor?
Right. Like, are they just going to use that? Is that going to be when they finally are like, all right, let's push it forward into this Kang storyline?
And we were having this discussion of like, do they need to add to it? You know, does everything need to be a thing that connects to something? Well, yeah, that's what you built. You know, it's like Pixar making an economy out of Easter eggs, and then like, oh, what, you guys wanted the Easter eggs? Yeah, that's kind of the relationship that's been built. You named these phases. Phase 4. We'll see. You know, I know he's gonna pull something up his sleeve where he's like, "Go rewatch everything. You'll see it was there the entire time." I like the
Somebody pointed out that there's been 3 MCU movies since the Eternals, and no one has mentioned that there's just a giant Titan stone man that's risen from the earth. But you know, I guess paying attention to like the consequences of your films is not like a big part of the MCU.
What's her name had cancer, and then she went up to Asgard. So like, wait, no, I said she went up. Asgard's on Earth. Anyways, I like that they're pulling the Matrix thing. I don't know if you remember when the Matrix came out with 2 and 3.
Yeah. We'll get to Phase 6 in a second. Let's talk about Phase 5 just a little bit more. So is there any movie from Phase 5 that you're most excited to from this list that we went through? I think for me, like, there's a part of me that's excited for Blade with Mahershala, but I think I'm a little bit like, I need to see a trailer before I buy in. I guess just from the list, I would go with Guardians 3 because I've enjoyed a Guardians movie in the past, but there's not a whole lot here that gets me excited.
I'm hoping for Guardians 3 because, like you said, it's going to be the wrap-up to him. Loki, magically, another multiverse. It's no longer a miniseries. Blade's I'm the most excited for just because it's Mahershala. What do you want me to say? You want me to say Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania? Like, what do you want me to say, bro?
I mean,
you know the thing about Ant-Man?
I know
is that it was Ant-Man. And then it was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now it's Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. So is the Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania? Like, I feel like Ant-Man, poor little Ant-Man, just continues to get titles added to his name.
It's thematically appropriate. He becomes a smaller and smaller part of the title each time. Weirdly, I would say that Ant-Man is one of the ones I'm excited for because at least that movie knows it's a comedy. And a lot of these other movies don't know what they are. I'm also struck by how short this timeline is compared to previous phases. I mean, they're going through a whole phase of the MCU.
You just told me they have 47 Daredevil episodes. That ain't short.
I mean, maybe not in terms of runtime. There's a lot of movies and TV to work through here, but the entire Phase 5 is going to take place over a year and 4 months, as opposed to, 3 years is the normal for these phases?
Oh, so it's just more so the shorter timeline, not so much how Yeah, because they're still stacked, dude. It's still 1, 2, 3, 5 movies that they're fitting in there within that span of time, and then all of the episodes. I want to see them cohesively come together, because as you said, you're seeing one thing in one movie, and then that doesn't matter by the next movie, and then I don't know. It's almost like this is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they could have that secured. But again, I'm really excited for 6.
Yeah, so some people in the live stream say Magnitude is saying that Blade's the only thing he's interested in. Love Life is saying Blade is going to be fire. Ricky saying that he's looking forward to Daredevil. Pink Sweet saying they're looking forward to Ironheart. Yeah, we want them all to be good. I just, maybe my expectations aren't very high. My expectations are a little bit high for some of the titles in Phase 6. They only have revealed 3 of them so far.
The question mark.
11 in total, but the 3 they revealed are the Fantastic Four movie coming in November 2024, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, the 4th Avengers movie announced already for May 2025, and then a 5th Avengers movie, Avengers: Secret Wars, the storyline that just about every Marvel nerd has thought that they're leading up to, confirmed with this announcement for November 2025. Art, what are you most excited about from these movies?
I like the release strategy of having something be in the spring and then in the fall. The last time I remember
the 6-month gap.
Yeah, because obviously with Endgame and Infinity War, that was what, 2018, 2019? Ooh, made it right before the world shut down. The last sequel that I think did this was The Matrix, when they did it in 2003, where in the spring it was Reloaded, and then it was Revolutions. In the fall. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to play out, because they've never done a 1-2 punch like that. And I feel like there's more money they can make from that. When you have people buzzing and you don't have to wait the whole year where it may sizzle out. It's right there already. Do you think they're going to keep the names?
I guess they didn't keep the names.
War that was changed right into the last minute.
Right, and wasn't it Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 before it was revealed to be Endgame?
Yup.
Well, on one hand, I feel like they seem like they're even more planned out than they used to be. So it feels like maybe some of these things will stay. But at the same time, Marvel is known for changing things up at their will. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these things change, for sure.
I would like to see, after Avengers: Secret War, the Flash movie. Do you think we might get that after Avengers: Secret War or after Phase 7?
I think you need to find the Flash movie on like the dark web. Is it a little weird that they've announced Avengers movies and we don't really know who's in the Avengers?
No, it's smart. You got your versus team thing here. It's like, it used to be you're told who's on the roster. Now you're going to have people pitching and doing campaigns on who should be on the Avengers list. You don't know. It's a bunch of youngsters, I'll say that.
Yeah. I don't know. I am excited about the idea of getting the 2 in 1 year. I hope they can build momentum that way. But, they're doing a lot of setup, and I am not sure I have the patience for all these movies that they've announced. I can't
wait for every movie to tell us that the X-Men are coming.
All right, so let's also talk about some TIFF announcements, because we got word a few world premieres that will be playing in Toronto this fall. There will be Michael Grandage's My Policeman, which is a movie starring Harry Styles. I know a lot of people are very excited about. Ryan Johnson's Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, also will be doing a world premiere at TIFF. Gina Prince Bythewood's The Woman King, which stars Viola Davis. Some people are tipping that as a potential Oscar nominee. Sanaa Lathan with her directorial debut on The Come Up, another interesting looking film. Nicholas Stoller, director of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, one of my favorite comedies. He's back with Bros, starring Billy Eichner. Then Lena Dunham, back with another movie after Sharp Stick at Sundance. She plays Tiff with Catherine Called Birdie, 2 in 1 year. But there's also Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans, starring Michelle Williams, Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Gray Man star Julia Butters, and Judd Hirsch.
Stop, bro. Don't do it like that.
Of these world premieres, which TIFF premiere are you most excited for?
Whichever has the latest premiere. I saw they had a couple there. Like those, like I think the Woman King looks decent. That comes out at the end of the month. You know,
Lena Dunham's movie is going to be on Prime by October 7th or something.
So if that's happening, probably none of those. So I have to say Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg's the only one of these that didn't even include a still from the movie in their TIFF announcement. They're like, we're keeping this under wraps.
That's what you know, yeah. The first one sounds kind of interesting. I don't know too much about it. The one with Harry Styles.
Yeah, I think it's a story about him being closeted. I'm not 100% certain, but I know there's just like, I mean, the Harry Styles fans out there are obviously salivating over this role. I really enjoyed Knives Out. I'm gonna probably really enjoy Knives Out too as well, but I'm totally with you. Do we not have a date? I don't know if we do.
Netflix just keeps saying stay subscribed please, and that's it.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
I would also probably go with the Spielberg movie though. I mean, this is also a film that is based in part on Spielberg's own life, supposedly, and it's the first time that he'll have a screenplay credit on a film since AI in 2001. So, like, this is like a personal project for one of the GOATs.
That's crazy.
And I feel like hot off of West Side Story, like, I don't know, man. This might be a big one. This might be a good one. I'm really, really excited for it.
You know the story with AI about how that was Kubrick's movie?
Yeah.
Before he passed, and then like he said, I want one person to finish it, and it was Steven. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. There was also a couple announcements from the other big fall film festivals. New York Film Festival announced that Till, the Emmett Till story, will have its world premiere at New York Film Festival. And the Venice Film Festival also announced that it will world premiere Noah Baumbach's new film, White Noise, from Netflix, and that movie is going to actually open the Venice Film Festival.
Let's go. That's so Adam Driver.
Yeah. Also, Greta Gerwig in the background looking a little bit different too.
Stop, bro! I thought this was the guy who plays Pinocchio. Who won for life?
Roberto Benigni. I'm really hyped for White Noise. Netflix gave this man like $140 million.
We talked about this on the Patreon
to adapt this esoteric book. Yeah.
Okay. I'm interested.
Yeah.
They're out there.
I'm very excited for these.
Sounds good.
All right. So a lot of awards season contenders to look forward to at those fall film festivals. We'll, of course, talk about them once we get the chance to see them, but that's about all for Yay or Nay. Before we get into the new to see, we would like to thank the InterCutie Plus patrons, those wonderful people who are supporting the show. They are Ewan, Julietta, Garrett, Tim, Elizabeth, Josh, Ashley, Marion, Michael, and D.A. Our Academy level members are Tushar, Cademan, Connor, Pete, Sean, and May. And of course, a big thanks to the to the producer level patrons, Awkward and Uden Veer. Thanks again for all the support, and a reminder that you too can become a member at patreon.com/intercutpod, where you can sign up for patron benefits like early access to Intercut episode outlines, access to private channels on the Intercut Discord, and an invitation to our monthly patron Google meetings. We're going to do our June patron Google meeting after our Nope spoiler stream tonight. So if you want to come and argue with us about Jordan Peele or about what the meaning is behind the symbolism in Nope, here's your chance. Sign up for $1 a month over on Patreon. Are you excited to debate Nope with the people?
Please pay us and let us know what the shoe represents. We're dying. Let us know before the other shoe
please
drops.
Give us a clue.
We'll have some very interesting discussions, especially with us being midway through. So we just came up with our list of all of our favorites throughout the year for movies and for TV. So we're at that halfway point where we've been getting a lot of recommendations from people, many times for what's coming in the horizon. But it's good to have a halfway list. So I'm curious to see what everyone's halfway list is so far, what we may be missing too.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the new to see and talk about the new releases heading into the rest of the week. First of all, Hellbender on July 26th.
Finally.
One of our favorite Fantasia movies. It's going to be available on VOD, digital, and DVD. For those of you who don't want to get that fun Shudder subscription, you can finally rent Hellbender, the really delightful family witch story. I think this is like a really cool, scrappy movie. We enjoyed this one quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. July 27th, Disney Plus is debuting Light and Magic,
This
about
looks cool.
industrial light and magic. Yeah, it is very cool. I'm always excited for a behind-the-scenes look at, some of the people behind our iconic movie moments. But I think the July 27th release I'm really excited for is We Met in Virtual Reality, one of our favorite documentaries out of the 2022 Sundance Film Festival. You also really liked We Met in Virtual Reality, right?
I loved We Met in Virtual Reality. I think it's in my top 10. I think it does a really great job of not just putting you in that setting, but understanding that setting. You and I have seen so many docs that is like a director going, those incels over there look like they have a very interesting story I could pitch for a festival. And then they have no idea what they're covering. This is someone who lived in virtual reality. The man had lens. He has lenses for VR. Like he has an actual camera that he's filming in there. It's fascinating. Highly recommend this one over on HBO.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited to revisit it because it's just such a fascinating way to portray people and get this side of people, right? Very intimate and cool documentary. On July 28th, HBO Max is also adding Harley Quinn season 3. I haven't caught any of this, but I know that DC fans particularly love the show. It's got a lot of personality and fun writing. You enjoy it too?
Hell yeah. I'm surprised this lasted this long. It's good. Catch it, bro.
I might have to catch up with it. I hear it's like legitimately great.
It is.
But on July 28th, the thing that I'm looking forward to is a Peacock show called The Resort. This stars a couple of our favorites, including William Jackson Harper, Kristen Milioti, Nick Offerman, Ben Sinclair, but is also showrun by former Intercut guest Andy Ciara, the writer of Palm Springs.
Hey, all right. You got a whole series then. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. There's some like true crime conspiracy happening here. So we'll catch that because I think they just added the screeners to our account too. So maybe we'll catch some of those episodes and report back next week.
Your boy Ben
on The
Sinclair's
Resort
in there too. Look at that.
Yeah, Mr. High Maintenance.
All right, seems stacked, dude.
On Friday, July 29th, we get Alone Together on digital and VOD.
We just had
it
it
hit
at the
theaters
top of
last
our list.
weekend.
Yeah, we were like, did you catch it in theaters? No, I didn't get to catch it.
No.
You don't even have to
catch
go
it on VOD this week. Yeah. This is the new film written, directed, and starring Katie Holmes. Interestingly, I didn't realize she had ambitions behind the camera as well, but curious about this one. We also, I would say this is probably the biggest release of the weekend. I don't know if you disagree with me. DC League of Super Pets hits theaters with Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Kate McKinnon, John Krasinski, and a whole bunch of big-name voice actors. Looks cute.
A love song, Zach, is in theaters from Sundance.
This is another one of the 2022 Sundance movies that we unfortunately missed. But yeah, I mean, we are Sundance completionists. So I'm sure we will catch this one and report back when we get the chance to. I'm also really excited for Not Okay releasing on Hulu. And I'm excited really for one reason and one reason alone. It's got our girl Zoe Deutsch. Deutsch. Yeah. I always mispronounce it, even though it's Dutch, and I know it's Dutch.
Yeah. This is her second movie with Dylan O'Brien. I know they did the outfit together, and their press tour was like, they're very funny together. So I'm curious to see what they've got going on here. Is this supposed to be like a comedy? Is this a sad movie?
I'm not positive.
Comedy drama.
I'm not positive. So
we'll see.
It's Searchlight. So it's a real movie. It's one of these movies that interestingly is developed by Searchlight, but going straight to Hulu like Fire Island did.
Interesting. And then Quinn Shepard.
Yeah.
I know her as an actress, but I guess she directed a movie called Blame, and this would be her second directorial debut. So, okay.
Interesting.
Have that on the radar.
Over on Amazon Prime Video, we have Paper Girls, which I think you caught a few episodes of, right?
Oh, I read some of the graphic novels as well. I think this is a very good series about these paper girls who, I forget, 80s? Yeah, 80s, and then something happens. Maybe something out of this world. maybe something not of planet Earth appears, and some timeline shenanigans may be happening. I think it looks beautiful. It was shot here in the suburbs of Chicago. I got some buddies who worked on it, and they're like, did you see the episode with the purple lights? Because, damn, they really like the purple lights. I have heard, reportedly, allegedly, supposedly, that the show's already canceled. And it all depends on how well the show does on a week-to-week basis, because I think they're going weekly with it. So from what I've seen, it's pretty good. Can't speak for the whole thing yet, but I'm hoping they're able to pick it up because the series has a pretty good story chunk to it, and season 1 I think only has like what would be the first trade paperback. So I am very excited to finish this, and even more so, as you know, to catch it in 4K, because our screeners, they don't do it justice.
Yeah.
But I like the story, dude. I'm curious your thoughts on it if you get the chance.
Interesting. Over on Apple TV Plus, the latest show from the boy Tim Cook. This is Surface, starring Gugu Mbatha Raw. Seems like a steamy, romantic kind of mystery where she doesn't remember aspects of her past. So
interesting.
Curious movie. What else? My document unfortunately went to the wrong page for no good reason. Okay. 13 Lives hits theaters this weekend. This one is directed by Ron Howard, starring Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, Joel Edgerton, and more recognizable faces. This one tells the story of the divers who saved a team of soccer, a young soccer team, or a bunch of teenage boys from that cave in Thailand, if you remember that news story, or if you remember last year's documentary, The Rescue, which was done by the team behind Free Solo. This one is going to be on Amazon Prime Video on August 5th, so it's just getting 1 week in theaters. But if you want to get that big screen experience, you got a week to do it.
And The Rescue's on Disney Plus, so if you want to see like the most claustrophobic, completely going to make you nauseous at home, catch The Rescue, because I got that one in theaters and I almost wanted to puke. You got a pillow?
I did steal a pillow.
Reportedly, allegedly.
Here, it's right here. I got my pillow. I did pull my plug out of my headphones, so I'm not going to be able to hear you for the next 2 seconds. But you can check out The Rescue over on Disney+.
He's never going to run back to Sadio right here.
And
that's
then
exactly
the other
why,
release.
And yeah, 13 Lives. Definitely check it out. But I'm excited for this last one right here.
Yeah.
No business being this interesting.
Vengeance hits theaters. This is a directorial debut of B.J. Novak, whom you probably remember from his days on The Office. It's got a pretty interesting cast: Issa Rae, Ashton Kutcher, Boyd Holbrook, Jake Smith Cameron, Dove Cameron. But it's also got a pretty intriguing premise in terms of this guy who he's a journalist and a podcaster traveling to West Texas to investigate a murder. It's got some like Only Murders / S-Town vibes. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, I thought the trailer looked fun. I'm definitely going to catch this one over the weekend.
Yeah, I've been really excited for this one. I like a good mystery.
Yeah, this is a Tribeca movie, although they did not make this one available to us. So can't give you our opinions on it. But those are the new to see picks for the weekend. What are your picks for the week?
If you're staying at home, I'd recommend Paper Girls. I saw a couple of episodes, and I'm very excited to see what it looks like in its full 4K quality. Also, check out the comic books if you're interested. They're all up on Hoopla. In terms of theaters, probably going to go see Nope again. But I will also be trying to catch Vengeance because that looks like a pretty good movie. And as far as I know, it's only in theaters. So those would be my picks for the week. And also, Living in Oblivion, I did not realize is actually out in like a dozen places, but they just added it to Peacock.
Really?
I think, or Prime. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. Anytime it appears in a new thing, I say highly recommend it. So I don't have that one marked up, but go to Just Watch, and hopefully it's on a streaming service that you can watch it for. I always want to recommend one of my all-times whenever I can.
Nice.
What about you, Zach?
Cool picks. I will agree with Vengeance. I'm very curious to catch that one. But my theaters pick this week is Anonymous Club, the Courtney Barnett documentary that I finally got to catch. It expands to more cities on Friday and continues expanding throughout August. And you gave it a good review out of South by. Now that I've had a chance to watch the full thing, like I'm I totally agree. Like, this is such a beautiful sort of audio diary documentary. I think most times when you get something that focuses on an artist, it's a little bit like, sometimes it's a little indulgent and sometimes it's a little bit like about flattering them, or it doesn't really give you that much insight. And I thought what was cool about this is that it's a little bit like existential and philosophical.
Yes.
Like, she's not just talking about her lyrics and how people respond to them, but also the nature of like explaining art and whether or not art has a purpose and your value on earth. Yeah, it's just a very cool documentary. And because she's doing these audio diaries throughout, so I feel like it's got this very intimate quality that you also find in her lyrics. Like, she has this vulnerability to her that's so resonant. So if you have any strong feelings towards her music, or even if you don't, I think there's a lot to really enjoy about Anonymous Club. I would highly recommend that one.
And even if you don't know her music, I went in fresh and I really liked it.
Yeah, so Anonymous Club, recommend that. I got 2 picks over for HBO Max, people. One of them is Mind Over Murder, now that it's wrapping up its run tonight, because it's an excellent show, and we'll be talking about it a bit more next week. But I also got We Met in Virtual Reality, one of our favorites out of Sundance, one that I think will open up a lot of people's minds into like why some people even enjoy metaverse and virtual type spaces, because it certainly opened up mine. And yeah, it's just, even beyond the fact that it's done within this virtual reality context, I think it's just a really fascinating profile of these people who have, for one reason or another, turned to this venue to air their issues, to work through their stuff. So We Met in Virtual Reality on HBO Max. But I think that's about all for our weekend must-watch stream. We'll be back momentarily with some thoughts on Nope, but make sure to follow us on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Zshevich, that's ZSHEVICH, and check out my YouTube or TikTok channels at Multiplex Show. Art, where can people find more from you?
You can find me over at Elmi Explain on Twitter, on YouTube, on Letterboxd for every week here on the Intercut Podcast.
You can listen to every episode of the Intercut Podcast on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher. I like Overcast. And then make sure you subscribe not just to the audio feed, but to the video feed as well on youtube.com/IntercutPod, where you can catch our bright smiling faces as we break down the latest in entertainment. Find new episodes of the Intercut Weekend Must Watch streaming on our YouTube channel every Monday, usually at 3 p.m., sometimes a little later if we got to get in extra screenings of Nope. Sometimes it be like that. Please leave us a comment, like the video, and consider heading over to iTunes to give us that much requested 5-star review. Shout out to Julieta and all our listeners down in Argentina for getting us on the TV and film podcast charts over there. Like our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. Support our Patreon. All of them are at Intercut Pod to get updates throughout the week from Art, from me, from all the guests we feature here on Intercut. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, Kevin Feige announced 4 more Marvel movies while we were recording this.
Damn it. And the after credits.
Yeah.